All right, welcome back to the deep dive. You know how this works. We dig into fascinating sources, pull out the absolute key insights, and do the heavy lifting so you don't have to.
Precisely. No more getting bogged down in mountains of text. We distill it down to the good stuff, the actionable knowledge.
And today we're going deep on a classic, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
A book that's had a profound impact on countless individuals, and for good reason.
It's not just some feel-good, positive thinking mantra. Hill spent 25 years, think about that, a quarter of a century, studying over 500 incredibly successful people.
He went deep into their habits, their philosophies, their mindsets, dissecting what allowed them to translate their ambitions into real, tangible wealth.
And our mission today, for our smart and curious listener, is to really unpack the core principles behind those success stories. And we'll make sure you walk away with some actionable takeaways.
Exactly. This isn't just about theory. It's distilled experience from individuals who've actually walked the path.
And right off the bat, Hill drops this intriguing hint, talking about a so-called money-making secret revealed to him by Andrew Carnegie.
One of the titans of industry, an absolute giant. And what's so compelling is that Carnegie insisted this secret isn't some exclusive knowledge reserved for the elite.
He makes it clear that it's available to absolutely anyone, regardless of their background, their education, their social standing.
It's a powerful idea, and Hill uses the example of Thomas Edison, one of the most prolific inventors of all time, a true innovator.
But a guy with practically no formal education, barely even finished grade school. It's a testament to the fact that traditional paths aren't the only way to achieve extraordinary things.
That's right. It challenges the conventional wisdom that success is tied to a certain pedigree or a specific set of credentials.
And that's a message that resonates with our listeners, I'm sure. You're smart, you're driven, you're hungry for knowledge. And Hill is speaking directly to you when he emphasizes that the things most people crave: wealth, recognition, a sense of real fulfillment.
Those aren't unattainable pipe dreams. They're well within your grasp if you approach them with the right mindset.
And the two key ingredients he highlights right from the get-go: genuine readiness and unwavering determination. It's about being prepared to seize opportunities and then having the grit to see them through.
Absolutely. So let's dive into the specifics. What, according to Hill, is that absolute starting point, that foundation upon which everything else is built?
He talks about desire, but not just a casual, wouldn't it be nice to have that kind of desire?
No, not at all. He's talking about a burning, almost all-consuming desire paired with a crystal clear definiteness of purpose.
And he illustrates this beautifully with the story of Edwin C. Barnes, who set his sights on becoming a business associate of Thomas Edison.
Not just working for Edison, but a true partner. That distinction is crucial.
It speaks to the level of clarity and precision in his ambition. And what's remarkable is that Barnes had no prior connection to Edison.
And he was flat broke at the time. He couldn't even afford the train fare to get to where Edison was.
Yet he was so driven by this intensely focused desire that he found a way. He worked his way onto a freight train and showed up at Edison's lab, basically demanding an opportunity.
It's a far cry from simply wishing for a better job or daydreaming about success. Barnes had a precise objective in mind. He could visualize it, and that fueled his actions.
So that intense desire, that crystal clear vision of what he wanted, was the catalyst. It propelled him to overcome those initial obstacles.
Think of it like this. A wish is like a flashlight beam pointed in a general direction. It illuminates a broad area but lacks focus.
But a definite purpose, as Hill describes it, is like a laser beam. It concentrates all your energy on a single point.
It cuts through distractions, it makes obstacles melt away, it gives you that unwavering sense of direction.
And that level of clarity, that intense focus, that's the bedrock. It's where it all begins.
Now, let's face it, even with the most burning desire and the clearest purpose, challenges are inevitable. They're part of the journey.
So what separates those who ultimately achieve those grand ambitions from those who fall short?
Well, Hill dedicates an entire chapter to the principle of persistence, and he tells a truly captivating story to drive this point home.
The story of R.U. Darby and his uncle during the gold rush. You familiar with this one?
Oh, absolutely. It's a classic tale of what happens when you give up too soon. They were prospecting for gold, and they initially struck it rich, found a vein, and everything was going great.
But then the vein seemed to disappear. They kept digging, but came up empty.
Discouraged and convinced they'd exhausted their luck, they decided to pack it in, sell their equipment to a local junk man, and move on.
But here's where it gets really interesting. That junk man, well, he had a different mindset. He didn't just accept defeat at face value.
What did he do that Darby and his uncle didn't? He understood the value of expertise. He went and consulted a mining engineer.
And that engineer, he did some calculations, took into account the geological formations, and identified what he called a fault line.
And get this, he calculated that the original gold vein was just 3 feet away from where Darby and his uncle had stopped digging.
3 feet. They were literally on the cusp of a potentially even bigger strike. But they let disappointment cloud their judgment, and they walked away.
It's such a powerful illustration of how crucial persistence is. How often do we, like Darby and his uncle, give up right before a major breakthrough?
It's so easy to get discouraged, to lose sight of that burning desire when faced with setbacks.
But what this story really underscores is that those setbacks, those apparent failures, aren't necessarily the end. They can actually be incredibly valuable feedback.
They might indicate that we need to tweak our approach, dig a little deeper, consult an expert, like that savvy junk man did.
Precisely. And the story has a fascinating follow-up. Hill connects this experience directly to Darby's later success in the life insurance business.
He went on to have a very successful career, selling millions of dollars in life insurance policies.
And Darby specifically credits a significant portion of his sales prowess to a lesson he learned years earlier from a child's unwavering refusal to take no for an answer.
It's this idea that internalizing these principles, like that unyielding persistence, can have a tangible impact on all areas of your life, including your financial success.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating those qualities that allow you to persevere, to overcome objections, to close the deal, so to speak.
Now, when we talk about achieving success, accumulating wealth, often the conversation turns to education. A good education is seen as a prerequisite, right?
It's often considered the first step on that ladder to success, but Hill, he offers a more nuanced perspective on the role of education.
He makes it very clear that the secret he's revealing, this path to riches, it isn't dependent on having a fancy degree or a prestigious education.
In fact, he cites numerous examples of incredibly successful individuals who achieved great things without a traditional academic background.
Like John Wanamaker, the retail magnate, who famously said he had to scoop up his education as it runs.
Meaning he was a lifelong learner, always seeking knowledge and applying it to his endeavors.
And of course, Henry Ford, who didn't even finish high school, but went on to revolutionize the automobile industry.
These examples really challenge that conventional wisdom that a prestigious degree is a prerequisite for significant achievement.
Hill isn't dismissing the value of education outright, but he's emphatically stating that mastering and applying these core principles, the ones he outlines in the book, can lead to remarkable success regardless of your formal schooling.
What's crucial here is the shift from simply accumulating knowledge to the practical application of that knowledge.
It's about what you do with what you know, not just the credentials you hold. And that's a powerful message for our listeners.
Absolutely. It was about being resourceful, being a self-starter, being willing to learn and adapt and apply those learnings to real-world situations.
Okay, so we have this foundation. Intense desire, a clear purpose, unwavering persistence, and a recognition that formal education isn't the only path to knowledge.
What's the next critical element in Hill's framework? What other tools do we need in our arsenal?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Hill delves into the indispensable role of imagination.
Ah, yes, the ability to dream, to envision possibilities beyond what currently exists.
Exactly. And he specifically talks about practical dreamers,
Yeah.
individuals who possess this remarkable ability to take those abstract visions and turn them into concrete realities.
They're the ones who drive innovation, who push boundaries, who make those seemingly impossible dreams a reality.
And he provides a whole list of historical figures who achieved greatness through the power of their imagination, often in the face of significant challenges and adversity.
Like Christopher Columbus, who dared to imagine a westward route to the Indies, a concept that was widely ridiculed at the time.
Or Nicholas Copernicus, who challenged the prevailing geocentric view of the universe and proposed a revolutionary heliocentric model.
And then you have literary giants like John Bunyan, author of The Pilgrim's Progress, and O. Henry, master of the short story, both of whom overcame significant personal struggles to create enduring works of literature.
And figures like Helen Keller, who, despite being deaf and blind, achieved extraordinary things, becoming a renowned author, political activist, and lecturer.
And Robert Burns, the Scottish poet who, despite a life marked by poverty and hardship, became a national icon, celebrated for his powerful words and his profound insights into the human condition.
These examples really underscore Hill's point that sometimes those very challenges we face can actually become the catalyst for unlocking extraordinary inner potential and fueling creative solutions.
It's this idea that within every adversity lies the seed of an equal or greater benefit, waiting to be discovered by an imaginative and determined mind.
And to further illustrate this, Hill shares a particularly poignant story about a person born without ears.
Oh, yes, a powerful story about a father's unwavering belief in his son's potential.
The father, fueled by an intense burning desire and unshakable faith, refused to accept that his son would never be able to hear or speak.
He was determined to find a way to help his son overcome the seemingly insurmountable obstacle.
And he came up with this unconventional approach, using the vibrations from a Victrola against his son's mastoid bone.
Constantly reinforcing the idea that his son had an equivalent advantage, a unique ability that would allow him to navigate the world in a different way.
And incredibly, after years of this unconventional therapy, the son began to perceive sound vibrations.
And he didn't stop there. Driven by his newfound ability, he contacted a hearing aid manufacturer and shared his story.
Which ultimately led to a successful career helping others who were deaf or hard of hearing.
It's a testament to the power of focused intention, of unwavering belief, and of creative problem solving. It's about turning a perceived disadvantage into a significant contribution.
Hill also makes this interesting distinction between two facets of imagination, synthetic and creative.
Could you elaborate on that a bit? I'm curious about the nuances there.
Sure. So synthetic imagination, as Hill explains it, is the ability to take existing ideas, concepts, plans, and kind of rearrange them, combine them in new and innovative ways.
So like taking the building blocks of existing knowledge and creating something novel out of them.
Exactly. It's the process we often use for translating desires into those concrete plans, like crafting a business strategy or coming up with a marketing campaign.
It's about taking what's already there and finding new and effective ways to utilize it.
Now, creative imagination, on the other hand, is more about those flashes of insight, those aha moments, those seemingly out-of-the-blue ideas that feel like they come from a higher source.
It's that intuitive spark, that sudden realization that can lead to breakthroughs and innovations.
Precisely. And while synthetic imagination is perhaps used more frequently in our day-to-day problem solving, Hill emphasizes that both types of imagination are absolutely vital.
And importantly, he stresses that they can be strengthened and refined through consistent and deliberate use.
It's like a muscle that grows stronger with exercise. The more you engage your imagination, the more powerful it becomes.
That's a really empowering idea. It means we can actively cultivate and enhance our imaginative capabilities.
Now, having all these powerful desires and innovative ideas is great. But how do we actually ground them, translate them into tangible achievements?
This is where Hill introduces the principle of organized knowledge and practical plans. He directly challenges the adage, knowledge is power.
You know, that classic saying that we often hear. But Hill argues that knowledge is only potential power until it's organized and applied effectively.
He points out that having a vast amount of information, even if it's incredibly valuable information, doesn't automatically translate into success.
It's like having a library full of books, but never actually opening them or applying the knowledge they contain.
You need a system, a framework, a plan for how to structure that knowledge and put it to work towards a specific goal.
Exactly. And Hill identifies this lack of practical application as a significant missing link in many traditional educational approaches.
He revisits the examples of Edison and Ford, emphasizing their relatively limited formal schooling, but their extraordinary financial success.
Their success stemmed from their remarkable ability to apply the knowledge they acquired, to turn it into concrete actions, to solve real-world problems.
They were masters of taking what they knew and turning it into tangible results.
And to further illustrate this point, Hill shares a story of a grocery store salesman who lost his job during an economic downturn.
A situation many people can relate to, facing a sudden setback, having to pivot and find new opportunities.
Exactly. And this salesman, instead of succumbing to despair, he proactively acquired accounting skills.
He saw a need, a growing demand for bookkeeping services among small businesses struggling in the tough economy.
And he leveraged his newfound knowledge to create a thriving bookkeeping business.
It's a perfect example of taking knowledge, organizing it into a practical plan, and then using it to create value and solve a real problem.
It's about being proactive, identifying opportunities, and then equipping yourself with the knowledge and skills to capitalize on those opportunities.
And Hill takes this idea a step further with the concept of a personal service sales plan, something he believes can significantly increase anyone's earning potential.
It sounds intriguing. What exactly does that entail?
Essentially, it's a detailed plan that outlines your unique skills, your experience, your value proposition, all presented in a compelling and persuasive way.
It's about strategically marketing yourself,
Yep.
showcasing what you bring to the table in a way that resonates with potential clients or employers. And he gives this example of a mother who crafted one of these plans for her son.
This wasn't just a generic resume. It was a carefully crafted document that highlighted his strengths, his accomplishments, and his potential contributions.
And as a result, her son was able to secure a significantly better position with a higher salary.
The success of this approach inspired the mother to actually start a business, helping others create these personalized sales plans.
So it's not just about the job search. It's a broader principle of presenting your best self and the value you offer.
It's about taking control of your career trajectory and showcasing your unique talents in a way that commands attention.
Now, Hill also cautions against this start-at-the-bottom mentality, which is often seen as the traditional path, especially for those starting out in their careers.
Right, that idea of paying your dues, working your way up the ladder rung by rung, it seems logical enough.
But Hill argues that too often, individuals who start at the lowest rungs can get stuck there. They may never gain the visibility or develop the skills needed to seize those bigger opportunities.
They might find themselves trapped in a cycle of low-level tasks, their ambitions stifled by the limited perspective from the bottom.
He advocates for setting your sights higher from the outset, having a clear vision of where you want to go, and actively seeking out opportunities that align with your definite purpose.
It's not about entitlement, it's about being strategic and proactive in shaping your career path.
And he uses the example of Dan Halpin, the manager of the Notre Dame football team, who, at one point, took a job selling hearing aids.
Which, on the surface, might seem like a bottom-rung position, but Halpin approached it with a specific purpose in mind.
He used it as a learning experience, a way to gain valuable sales skills and build connections that would ultimately propel him towards his larger career goals.
It's about having that long-term vision and not allowing the immediate starting point to define your ultimate trajectory.
Every role, every experience can be a stepping stone, a valuable lesson, an opportunity to grow and move closer to your desired destination.
So far, we've covered desire, planning, knowledge application, persistence. But Hill also dives deep into the power of the mind itself, specifically the subconscious mind.
This is where it gets really fascinating, this idea that we can tap into this incredible power within ourselves to shape our reality.
Exactly. And Hill introduces this concept of autosuggestion, a way to consciously influence the subconscious mind.
So it's about deliberately planting those seeds of our desires and beliefs deep within our minds, nurturing them and allowing them to grow.
He suggests that thoughts, especially when they're charged with strong emotions, become almost like magnets, attracting similar thoughts and circumstances from what he calls the ether.
The ether being this universal field of energy and vibration. So it's about aligning our thoughts and emotions with our desires, creating a resonance that draws those desires towards us.
It's a bit like tuning a radio to a specific frequency. If you want to receive a certain station, you need to adjust your dial accordingly.
And Hill emphasizes the importance of controlling our dominant thoughts, actively cultivating positive emotions like hope, enthusiasm, love,
While consciously weeding out those negative thought patterns that can hold us back, those doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs.
He even provides a very specific method for crafting a written statement of your purpose, outlining exactly what you want to achieve, how much money you want to accumulate, by what specific date, and through what means.
And he stresses the importance of reading this statement aloud daily with absolute conviction and unwavering faith.
It's about consistently feeding your subconscious mind those positive affirmations, imprinting those desires and beliefs deep within your being.
Hill acknowledges that the underlying mechanism behind this might be an unexplained law of nature, but he insists that its effectiveness, when applied consistently and constructively, is undeniable.
It's about actively programming your mind for success, aligning your thoughts and emotions with your desired outcomes.
It's not just about repeating phrases mindlessly. It's about really feeling the emotion of your desire as you state it, imbuing those words with power and conviction.
That emotional charge is what really imprints the idea onto the subconscious mind, making it a driving force in your actions and decisions.
And this leads us directly to the power of faith itself, a concept that, in Hill's framework, goes beyond mere optimism or hoping for the best.
He presents faith as this dynamic force, an unwavering belief in your ability to achieve your goals, even when faced with challenges and setbacks.
He uses the example of Mahatma Gandhi, who was able to influence millions through his unwavering faith, achieving social and political change through nonviolent resistance that military power alone could not accomplish.
And the story of Charles M. Schwab persuading J.P. Morgan to establish U.S. Steel, one of the largest corporations in history, is another powerful illustration.
Schwab had this vision, this unwavering belief in the future of the steel industry, and he was able to articulate it in such a compelling way that he convinced Morgan to invest millions.
He even addressed those potential concerns about creating monopolies, arguing that the expansion of the market through reduced production costs would ultimately benefit everyone.
It's fascinating how Schwab's unwavering faith in his vision translated into this persuasive power that overcame skepticism and ultimately led to the formation of a corporate giant.
And finally, we come to the mastermind principle. This idea that great power for achievement comes from the collective intelligence and harmonious collaboration of two or more minds working towards a definite purpose.
Hill defines power not just as individual strength or knowledge, but as organized and intelligently directed knowledge and organized effort achieved through this coordination of minds.
He outlines two key characteristics of this mastermind principle. First, the tangible economic advantages that come from shared advice, collaborative problem solving, and coordinated effort.
It's about leveraging the diverse strengths and perspectives of a group of individuals, all working towards a common goal.
And then the more intangible, yet equally powerful psychic aspect, the resonance that develops when minds work together in harmony.
When there's this shared vision, mutual trust, and a genuine spirit of collaboration, something truly remarkable happens.
It's like the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. The collective intelligence and creativity of the group far exceeds what any individual could achieve alone.
Hill highlights Andrew Carnegie's own mastermind group, which was instrumental in building his immense fortune and business empire.
He surrounded himself with approximately 50 trusted advisors and experts from various fields, regularly tapping into their collective wisdom and insights.
And then there's the example of Henry Ford, whose success skyrocketed after he formed close friendships with other brilliant innovators like Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone, John Burroughs, and Luther Burbank.
They formed this informal mastermind group, regularly exchanging ideas, supporting each other's endeavors, and collectively pushing the boundaries of innovation.
And what's fascinating is the implication that this level of harmonious coordination can tap into an even greater source of wisdom and power.
Hill refers to this as infinite intelligence, this vast reservoir of knowledge and creative potential that we can access through focused thought, collaboration, and unwavering belief.
It's a powerful concept, this idea that we can align ourselves with something much larger than ourselves, tapping into a source of wisdom that transcends our individual limitations.
So, as we bring this deep dive into Think and Grow Rich to a close, we've covered a lot of ground. We've explored these core principles that, according to Hill, are essential for achieving significant success and accumulating wealth.
It all starts with cultivating that burning desire, defining your purpose with absolute clarity, and persisting through those inevitable challenges and setbacks.
It involves recognizing that true education extends far beyond the confines of formal schooling, actively harnessing the power of your imagination to solve problems and create innovative solutions.
It's about meticulously organizing your knowledge into practical plans, taking those ideas and turning them into concrete actions.
And crucially, it's about recognizing the profound power of the subconscious mind, which we can actively shape and direct through focused thought, unwavering belief, and that essential force of faith.
And finally, the mastermind principle, that powerful reminder that we can achieve extraordinary things when we collaborate effectively, leveraging the collective intelligence and support of a group of like-minded individuals.
So for you, our intelligent and inquisitive listener, the inherent power to achieve the levels of success and wealth you aspire to lies within your grasp.
It's all about understanding, internalizing, and diligently applying these timeless and transformative principles.
So here's a final thought to really ponder. As you reflect on all these core principles we've explored today, from the power of definite purpose to the synergistic potential of the mastermind, Which one resonates most powerfully with you right now in this chapter of your life?
And more importantly, what is one small yet concrete and deliberate action you can commit to taking today to start integrating that principle into your daily thoughts and actions?
We encourage you to revisit Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, to really delve into these ideas and discover how they can empower your journey toward achieving your most ambitious goals.
And please join us next time on The Deep Dive as we explore another set of fascinating sources and bring you the knowledge that truly matters.
Until then, keep diving deep.
And keep thinking big.